Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is May 7th, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. You can see British Columbia, Washington, Oregon. Let me back out here again, and the next ridge is developing offshore here, but we've got a few more showers to go. You can kind of see the cold air cumulus out there. You can also see the storm system brought some severe weather across the plains yesterday. It is wrapping back around. We still have a tight gradient across portions of Montana and some of Idaho here as well for some mountain snows. There's even some blizzard warnings up still with this storm system here. But the big story is we're going to be warming up here as we go through this week and in towards this weekend, and we'll dive into those details as we go through the video here this morning. Taking a look here at that storm, you can see all that precipitation up across Alberta and some of western Montana, a little bit still going on across Idaho, but that's more of the showery activity. And you can see we had some heavier showers out there across some of the northern areas of western Washington today. And you can see the showers rolling through here. That should be wrapping up as we go through the day today. Taking a look at the surface winds today, we got some gusty winds, 35 miles per hour. Heads up for that. And not too big of a deal out there, but you could get a little blustery conditions, maybe a little bit of blowing dust for some areas out there. And this is Spokane. Check it out by Saturday and Sunday. We're looking at highs low to upper 80s. You can definitely see the warming trend as we go from Wednesday on in through this weekend. Taking a look at spring snow, and you can see some of this high wind warnings or some blizzard warnings, winter weather advisories, or hydraulic outlooks, wind advisories. Looks like a fruitcake out there across western Montana. So still dealing with that storm system out there. Heads up if you're traveling, out of Spokane eastbound, and if you're across that area here, Helena and Great Falls, you know about the storm ongoing already. Now looking at the windy afternoon here for places across the Missoula and Bitterroot valleys here, gusts locally 50 plus miles per hour, I-90 east to Butte, Montana. So heads up for that activity. And this is the day one thunderstorm outlook. You can see it does include eastern Montana and some of extreme southeast Idaho, but that will be going out of our area. And we are really going to dry out here across the Pacific Northwest. This is day two, no thunderstorm threat right now. And just a reminder here for people going out at the end of the week and towards this weekend, there's going to be temperatures in the 80s, but the cold water is going to be there. That snow melt, you get the hypothermia and cold water shock. Remember to wear your life jacket. Nice stuff here from the National Weather Service, Portland, Oregon. And if you want a nice affordable home weather station for your own house, it's a very affordable option for what it does. And it's got a lightning detection system with it, and it stores all this data for you in the cloud. An attractive unit, haptic rain gauge, ultrasonic anemometer. Very highly recommended station. Now let's take a look what the Doppler radar may look like as we go through the day today. You can see wrapping up some of the shower activity, but watch across some of the south central sound. Still shows some showers going through this afternoon and evening before this finally wraps up as we go through very early tomorrow morning. You can kind of still see the wraparound moisture from that storm out there, and not too heavy back into Oregon or anything of that nature here, but just pointing that out. And then we really dry out as we go through Wednesday and on in through Thursday morning. Now taking a look at 500 millibars, 18,000 feet. Let's put this into motion here as well. And you can clearly see the storm moving out and the big ridge coming in. We got the European on the left versus the GFS on the right. And again, this is at 18,000 feet in the upper levels of the atmosphere, and it shows the ridge and trough position quite well. You can see the trough hanging out across the southwest USA, but this is really going to ramp up our temperatures. This is Thursday afternoon here, and going into Friday, we're going to have this ridge with us, and it's going to allow us to warm up as we go through this upcoming weekend here. Then maybe off through next week, there is a system that might try to swing through western BC that flattened this ridge a bit here, but some of the signs are showing another rebound here as well and keeping us in some above average temperatures across some places of Oregon, Washington, but that would be a cool down here for western BC. Now, if we look at the 500 millibar heights actually, so this is Seattle, SeaTac, Seattle Tacoma International Airport, and you can see where we are now with the troughing around, but that's moving out. You can really see the ridge building up here, maybe a little bit of a dent in that as we go through the early portion of next week, then perhaps a bounce back there. And the bottom one here is 850 millibars, 5,000 feet. This is a map that I show a lot as well. This is the temperatures, and you can clearly see how much we warm up here as we go towards the end of the week and on in through this weekend. And this is looking at that same data here. And if we put this into motion, again, you'll see that cold air moving out, the anticyclone, the high pressure, they're really allowing these temperatures to build as we go through Friday afternoon. There's Saturday and Sunday. We're going to be pretty darn right warm here Sunday before the system tries to cool us down a bit here. But again, we'll watch this over the next few days to see how that trends weaker or stronger. Looking at the national blend of models, you can see that we've got some upper 50s trying to get towards 60 here, southwest BC. But look at tomorrow. Pretty nice day incoming tomorrow. See the Okanagan River Valley getting up into the 70s here. And then look at Thursday. Widespread, very warm conditions here across Pacific Northwest. Look at that 81 up into the Fraser River Valley. Lower 80s here for the Willamette Valley. And then look at Friday. You're talking about some upper 80s out there for Portland, down into or towards Eugene, Salem here, mid and upper 80s, down towards Medford. And Seattle probably get into the 80s as well. And then Sunday, look at that 82 for Seattle, 90s for Eastern Washington. So this is kind of a heat wave here, relatively speaking, for the Pacific Northwest for this time of year. We could even break some record highs for some areas. And if we take a look at Portland, you can see the average high for this time of year is right around 68, 69 degrees. I don't know if we're going to get any of these records, but as we get towards the weekend, we could maybe hit 90, maybe challenge a couple of those records there. You can see by the time you get on in towards mid-May, a lot of these records are up into the 90s. Look at that, back in May 28th of 1983, 100 degrees for Portland International Airport. So we've been below average really much of this month there, except for one day there, and we're definitely going to go above average here as we go on into the next few days. But you can see the average high for this time of year as we go into the end of May, actually, May 31st, is 72 degrees for Portland. So we start getting our nice weather here. It's going to be on its way. You can see Seattle, average high for this time of year is 65. So we're definitely going above that. We do have an outside chance. Sunday's record high is 82. And right now the National Blend of Models calls for something right around 82. So we could break an all-time daily record high. And strangely enough, that was set last year. If you remember, we had 4 straight days of record highs, 82, 86, 89, and 88. So interesting stuff here. And that's not a good start here for May as far as precipitation is concerned, because we've got some precipitation. It's just not been that much for many areas, just over 1/4 of an inch now. We only average about 1.8, but you know, it's not a great start. Now taking a look at Seattle, and again, you can see the bump in the temperatures, and the GFS wants to really ramp things up here for Friday and Saturday. That starts to cool us down a bit here on Sunday. So still some model discrepancy on how hot we're going to get and how long it's going to last. You can see we drop down closer to normal or slightly above normal here as we go through mid-May. This is Spokane on the European model. You can kind of see it keeps things above average. By the time we get towards May 21st, starting to average about, 68 degrees for an average afternoon temperature high. This is Portland, Oregon. Even the European says 80s likely incoming here for Portland. And a lot of the Willamette Valley is going to get really warm coming up here. And the red line is the average temperature again for this time of year. And if we look at the total snow in inches, I just want to kind of play this through and show you that we're going to maybe another inch or two for some of the highest terrain of the Cascades of Washington, Oregon, and some of the Blue Mountains out there. And of course, across Idaho and Montana, especially get across Montana, you're still getting some decent snowfall from that storm out there. It's not affecting much of Idaho, Washington, and Oregon. But as we scroll off into the future here, the National Blend of Models, you can see we're not looking at much here as we go through the next 10 days, and maybe something coming out there in the 9 to 10 day period. We'll be watching that, on a day-to-day basis. Here's the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook as we go through May 16th. Check it out. The above average signal across much of the West Coast, below average signal for precipitation, and the 8 to 14 day, you can clearly see it there all the way through May 20th with that below average signal here for some of the Pacific Northwest. But anyway, yeah, hope you guys like some warmth, because we are going to be cranking up the heat. And but beware of the storm out there. If you're across Montana or Idaho and eastern portions, or you're driving out there, be wary of that storm. Again, some blizzard conditions for the higher terrain, some gusty winds, some winter driving conditions. And we're going to be wrapping up these showers as we go through tomorrow morning, that we're really going to start to crank up those temperatures. So a very nice streak of weather coming up. We'll continue to watch the extended forecast to see what kind of systems may loom off into our future. But otherwise, click like and subscribe. We'll do this again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.